what is OOPS. And our next approach is object oriented programming approach. So this is the approach we are going to follow. It's a class addition def and underscore init self abc print a plus b. Objective addition of 12 and 12. So let's study what is OOPS. OOPS stands for object oriented programming system. Okay, is OOPS is a programming paradigm based on the concept of object, which can be contain data, attributes, and code methods. I know it is tough to understand right now, but it will be easy after learning. There are many concepts that we can learn, like classes, objects, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So let's start. Classes in OOPS. What is classes? Classes, the first point is class is like a blueprint or a template for creating objects. Remember, what is class? It is like a blueprint or a template for creating objects. Think of class like a blueprint of a house. It defines what the house should have, like room, windows, but does not build the house. The house is actual built using the blueprint, right? Syntax of class. A class is also created with a basic keyword class and name in front of it. Means class as car. The brand is Toyota. So this is a class. Name of class. Creating a class is super simple. Now let's see what is inside class. There are two types of thing inside class: attribute and method. Attribute. Variables defined inside the class are attribute. Remember, what is attribute? Variable defined inside the class are attribute. What is method? Functions defined inside the class are method. And here is the example of this. Means the class is animal and a dog species. Def sound makes self, and it is method and it is attribute. It is attribute and it is a method. And we have to print bar. Now let's move to next topic is accessing attributes and method. A class is initialized only when a class is initialized only one time when we run the program. And for accessing the attributes and methods, we have to first access the class and then attributes and then method. There is a class name animal, type cat, and definition is sound, and it is self and directly, and it is a method as we know, and it is attribute. Now directly accessing attribute and method using class. So this is the process. Here the print animal is access attribute and animal dot sound is call method. So read this also. Now let's see what is object in OOPS. Object. So there is a big factory and it is a requirement. There is a material, zips and packet. Means a big bag factory. What is the requirement? It is a material, it is a zip, and it is a pocket, right? For understanding object, first look at the sample. You have the bag factory and that factory require material of bags. The number of zip you need bags, then you need bags, and number of pockets you need in your bag. So this is a kind of blueprint using so this is a kind of blueprint, and using this blueprint Reebok, Campus and some other companies provide the requirements and created the bags. Thus these companies became object who created their bags using the blueprint. Now let's understand object syntax. It is very easy to create an object. You just have to call the class inside a variable and that variable became an object. The object has all the powers of class, therefore a class object can be access attribute and method of class, right? Class is fruit name apple. Creating an object as fruit. F dot fruit is its f is equal to fruit, and we have to access the attribute. So we will do print f dot name, right? Now let's move to our next topic, which is constructors. What is constructors? You saw last example where we wanted material, zip and pockets from the user to create an object. If we talk about functions, We can ask this using parameters, but in class we can't have parameters for that. We use constructors, right? A constructor is the method that runs automatically when we call a class, and this is constructor functions will target the object location, and this is the example of this where we have made class name student and def in it self made self.name is name, which is instant attribute, creating an object with a value as is student, and in the quotes it is in ria. Now accessing the attribute which is print.s.name, right? To target the object location we use self keyword. For clear understanding, watch the video carefully. Okay, you have to watch the video carefully. We will create back factory and will create multiple objects where self target locations of the object. Now let's move to the next point, which is attribute and methods. Types of attribute. First is class attribute and second is instance attribute. What is class attribute? Normal variable created inside a class is a class attribute, and that is it. Okay. Now let's move to instant attribute. Instant attribute created using an instance like self name, self.age, etc. It is also known as instant attribute, and this is an example of it where the class name is car and it is a class attribute, and this is a instant attribute. Now let's move to types of method. Instant method. An instant object works with instance object of class. This method can access the modification instant attribute. So this is example of this where the class is my class and we have to print this is an instance method. Let's move to another point, which is class method. This method works with the class itself. It will not target the instance object. We have to use @class method decorate for creating the class method, and it takes CLS as their first parameter. Okay, this is example of it, which is class, which the class is my class. Okay, and we have to print this is a class method. Now let's move to next point, static method. This method does not access class or instance directly. It also uses a directly it also uses a decorator, which is static method. It just acts like a regular function placed inside class. Okay, the class my class, which is class is my class, and we have to print is this is a static method. Another point is what is inheritance. What is inheritance? Now let's understand what is inheritance. In general terms, inheritance inheritance means property or any position that comes to an higher, right? Let's say there's a parent and its property goes to its child, right? But in our Python, neither we have old man or a child then. Then how this inheritance works, right? It works between classes. When it works between classes, inheritance allow class, child class, which is a child class, to inherit properties of an behavior, attribute, and method from another class, right? Benefit of using inheritance is code reusability. Just try to remember this point. Code reusability, organized structure, and easy to maintain and extend. Now, what is the syntax of inheritance? Syntax is very simple. Just like you take parameters in functions. Here you will take parameters, but those parameters will be classes, and this is a example of it. Now, the inherited class has all the power to of a parent class. That means method attribute can access by the child class also. Now move to next point, which is constructor in inheritance. Let's say you have created a parent class, okay, with a constructor function inside it, and it then will class inherited by another class and then constructor function of parent class. It will work for the child class as well. So this is example of this.